Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, Capital One Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, Aerial Property Advisors, Dime Community Bank, Perfect Building Maintenance. Additional funding has been provided by AKA Hotels Corman Communities, AmTrust Title Insurance Company, AVR Realty Company, Avison Young, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, JP Morgan Chase, Citizens Bank, Cohen Equities, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Connect One Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Polsinelli, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Services, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Knackle Group at Cushman & Wakefield, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Group, and these friends.
It's Brooklyn. Everybody wants to be in Brooklyn. You want to live, you want to work, you want to shop, you want to visit. You have to be in Brooklyn. So today I've assembled this group of leaders who know everything about Brooklyn. My guests include the legendary Josh Muss, who's been working in Brooklyn for many, many years. Josh is the CEO of the Muss Development. Dave Lombino, who is a managing director, communications and development for Two Trees. Paul Travis, who is the founder and principal at Washington Square Partners. And last but not least, the lady who's running the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, Regina Myer. So, Josh, how many years have you been involved with Brooklyn? And you were also involved with the creation of the Downtown Partnership.
Well, I think we first started our development in Brooklyn in 1985. Although prior to that, one of my first projects was on Church Avenue and East 17th Street. So,
okay. So 1985.
Goes back a long time.
Paul, how long have you been involved with Brooklyn now?
I think about the same time. I started in 1985 building the Pierpont office building in Brooklyn Heights, the first of the new office buildings in downtown Brooklyn.
And when did MetroTech come about?
MetroTech started in '87 and finished in about '97, I think it probably.
So where do we see today? You know, I was down recently for the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce Builders Awards. There is so much development taking place in downtown Brooklyn, and as we were just saying before, the geography of the map of downtown Brooklyn has changed.
Well, that's what's amazing about Brooklyn right now is when we rezoned downtown Brooklyn in 2004, we knew it was about all of the strength of the brownstone neighborhoods. And now, collectively, northern Brooklyn is really seen as one of the most vibrant places on the planet. So it's starting from the strength of the great brownstone neighborhoods that we've had that have stayed stable. We now have this incredible resurgence in downtown Brooklyn along the waterfront in Greenpoint and Williamsburg. And a lot of this has to do with the great strengths that the borough has always had.
You know, Paul, you've been involved with City Point, and I will tell you that Ken, your partners a number of years ago, when I would have a show and say, I remember the Albee Square Mall. There was, I don't think there were too many people who would visit. Maybe Lombino would have visited there. Okay, but you know, there weren't that many tenants. You know, it was right near the Dime Savings Bank building over there. And now today, you know, when they put in the second Target, I mean, there are very few neighborhoods in the city of New York that you have two Targets over there. You have the food court now, food market over there. So let's talk a little bit about City Point, because I'm the one who was probably one of the biggest skeptics over there.
No, I think
what do you attribute the success to City Point?
We purchased the site in 2007 from Joe Sitt, who had been running the Albee Square Mall. And when we bought it, what we thought was there are 500,000 people who live in the brownstone neighborhoods around downtown Brooklyn. If you look at the shopping and entertainment that was available to them, it really made no sense that there wasn't more retail, more movie theaters, more food, more of everything than what you saw at downtown Brooklyn at the time. That was our market, and you know, we spent a long time. It took these large projects, as you know well, take a long time to get done, and we got some great anchor tenants, Century 21 and Target, which allowed us to go forward. I think what's happened since is we sort of suddenly woke up a few years ago and realized there's this whole other market, which is downtown Brooklyn itself, which has the biggest residential growth in the city in the last few years, enormous office growth, and really has changed to be a much more interesting place. And so we added in the movie theater and the food hall, and really what we see is a downtown Brooklyn that I think is, you know, everything old is new again. This is like 1955 all over again, but in different clothes.
Now, you know, if we go to Josh's situation, how did you decide in 1985 to build a hotel in downtown Brooklyn? I mean, I realized that there was some clinical work needed in your mind, saying, your wife saying, are you crazy, are you Michigan? But, you know, to go to build a Marriott, how did you decide to do it? It was before the time.
Well, truth is I was crazy. It certainly was not intended to be a hotel. It was intended to be an office building, but for the purpose of building the office building, I had to do the hotel. The impression that I have right now is that what we started out to downtown Brooklyn, which was a few blocks, has now expanded. And what was then a dirty word is now an extraordinary adventure that's going on every single day. We have not done a lot of recent development, although we just invested about $50 million into the expansion, or I should say the improvement of the renovation of the hotel. But every time another apartment building is built, every time another office building is built, and indeed every time another hotel is built, they are our customers. We have 50,000 square feet of meeting space, and we're the meeting space in Brooklyn. So it's extraordinary, it's unexpected, it's unprecedented, and it is truly the capital of the world.
Let's talk about Dumbo.
We're very proud of ourselves.
You should be proud of yourself. Let's talk about Dumbo. What's going on?
In terms of multifamily, we've reached the pinnacle. I think there's quite a few condo projects going on there now. Two Trees finished 60 Water probably 2 years ago. We're obviously at full capacity there. You obviously had the Watchtower properties trade there a couple years ago. Kushner and his group are working to build a large commercial office portfolio there at what they call Dumbo Heights. Some other parcels related to the old Watchtower properties that will be developed in coming years. But we finished our last parcel there a couple years ago, and frankly now, if there's any land to sell there, it's too expensive for rentals.
Let's talk about Ashland. I mean, Ashland is an interesting project.
You know, that's a project 10 years in the making. We are about 70% leased now. But there are a couple of architects of the initial concept here in the room. The city did a master planning exercise around the downtown Brooklyn Cultural District when they looked at downtown Brooklyn generally, and they made an effort to cluster you know, some of the cultural assets in the borough in that neighborhood. And this was a site that they identified as far back as '02 as that it would be a part of this master cultural plan. Initially, it was supposed to be a standalone library, We came in about '07 and responded to an RFP. It was a city-owned parking lot, and we agreed through negotiations with them to build a 400-unit rental apartment building that would cross-subsidize a 50,000 square foot cultural facility and a big public plaza.
And you also have a Whole Foods going in there and an Apple store.
We have a Whole Foods going in there and another large retailer that I'm not permitted to talk about.
Okay, there's another retailer which I believe is an company called Apple. Let's talk about Brooklyn Bridge Park.
Brooklyn Bridge Park started in the 80s when the Brooklyn Heights residents realized that the Port Authority wanted to get rid of the property and sell it for residential, and they started raising the idea of a park on the site in the mid-'80s as well. But what was really amazing was both Mayor Bloomberg and then Governor Pataki in the early 2000s realized that this time has come, and that the park would really lead Brooklyn into what I think is, its amazing resurgence. So I had the amazing opportunity of building Brooklyn Bridge Park starting in 2007.
Now, was Robert Levine's building built, I think he had already opened up before 2007, before the park.
Right. Robert had bought his site in 2004 and brought it online by 2007. And the wonderful timing for the park was that Robert was the first land leaseback that really made the park happen. It was his payment in lieu of taxes that let us move ahead with construction with government funds, but gave us the private funds to maintain the park. So we were really thrilled that that partnership lined up from day one with Brooklyn Bridge Park.
So how was the decision made to build the pier house and the hotel?
Well,
even though there's really one major hotel that we talk about.
By the time the city took the project over from the state, we were well on the way of construction of the open space. Mayor Bloomberg felt strongly that the amenities of the park should move ahead and that we should start making good on our promise to build a park in that location. Then, of course, the market crashed, and we couldn't put the RFP out until there was some recovery. We put the RFP out, though, at really great time. People were just coming back at the idea of investing in Brooklyn, so it was really great timing for the park. And now the hotel's just opened this summer, which looks smashing.
We were talking about Pierpont before, and also that's not far from your property. What's going on over there with the Brooklyn Public Library? That's being demolished over there, and they're building up a condo over there.
Right, David Hudson Company is building it.
Right, which is, I think, a good answer for that site. It was a very underdeveloped site for a very long time, and the Brooklyn it's really addressing a major issue for the Brooklyn Public Library.
When you have a live-work area, okay, one of the things which happened, even though Litch is not really downtown Brooklyn, with all of the people coming, with all the residents coming, you really need the healthcare involvement. And Litch closed because it was totally unprofitable. But do you see, and I know you were involved with Methodists over there, do you see any major additions in healthcare taking place in downtown Brooklyn? Because Brooklyn Hospital hasn't really been a major institution. It's an institution who doesn't even have a true affiliation, while the others.
Well, Methodist, as you mentioned, so Methodist Hospital, which is now very closely affiliated with New York Presbyterian.
Changes, the name has even been changed.
Well, the name has even been changed. It was always a healthy hospital, a very strong hospital from a financial point of view for a very long term. We worked with them, and they're in construction, a 365,000 square foot ambulatory care center, which will be the most modern ambulatory care center in the downtown Brooklyn area. I think, as we look forward, I think, certainly.
Now, is that going to be right on their campus, or?
Right on their campus, right across from the main hospital on 6th Street in Park Slope. But I think, within the walls of the partnership, which we're all involved with, when we look forward, we know we need to do more in the education arena. We need to do more in the healthcare arena. We definitely have a growing downtown.
Brooklyn has an enormous amount. You have all the educational institutions downtown.
At the college level.
Correct.
But we need more at the elementary and secondary
But
schools.
isn't there something being done
Right.
downtown
Well,
with
this-
Alloy?
Exactly. I mean, there's 2 schools being proposed as part of the Alloy development on Skirmahorn and Flatbush, and there's very likely that there'll be more school development. The SCA has devoted probably another 1,000 seats, made a commitment in the pipeline. So the question is finding the sites. They're talking to a few different developers about locations right now. And then, of course, on the secondary front, both NYU and City Tech are opening new facilities this fall, which should really solidify J Street as this incredible corridor for education. 370 J Street will open in phases, with the first section, Cusp, relocating to 370J this fall. And then there'll be 2 sections of Tisch School of the Arts moving the following year into 370J. So that was literally an abandoned building that the MTA really just let languish.
What's going on to where the McDonald's and the parking lots were over there?
On Tillery Street?
On Tillery Street.
Well, most of Tillery Street has come alive with rental housing. There's been a couple of different developers who focused on that area. Shocking, right? It's the entrance to the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, and people are making, market rents right on Tillery. The last site, I think you're right, is the McDonald's site, and I've heard that there's active interest.
Now, I do believe on one of the sites, the guy who may own the McDonald's sites was thinking of putting above ground parking lot, a parking wheel.
It's there ready.
He's already put the wheel over there? Because I'm not talking about the possible below grade. He has...
It's like a conveyor.
It's a conveyor belt, yes. He brought it in from Europe, the concept over there, and he's put the thing. Let's talk about Williamsburg, okay? Something, sugar company, Domino.
It's a big site.
325 Kent, the first building over there?
Yep, 11-acre site. We just opened, our first residents moved in to 325 Kent 2 weeks ago. We have 400 market rate rentals there, another 100 plus affordable units. It's the first in
87,000 applications for those?
87, a lot of applications for the affordable units, not a surprise. It's the first piece of, the first of 4 new buildings that we'll build on the site, and we will restore the refinery building with the large smokestack, once the biggest building in Brooklyn, into commercial office as part of this development. Next summer, we will open a 6-acre park on the waterfront, designed by the Highline architects. That should be a really terrific addition. Have you been up in that neck of the woods recently?
Not really. You'll give me my tour.
Can
I went down to the Gowanus, which relates. What's going on in the Gowanus? I mean, I was a little surprised. I went to the co-working space where the production was done for the awards, and I hadn't been to Hoyt Street in that neighborhood in a long time. It's really growing.
We own a site down there on Hoyt that we intend to rezone. There are a lot of developers, in the queue to go through rezoning there. The council member Brad Lander is a planner by trade. Is taking a very comprehensive approach to a community-based planning process. The city is making the right kind of noise, and I think in the next year, you'll start to see a rezoning of some type happen in that area.
I gotta say, one of the most extraordinary things about Gowanus is how close it is to downtown Brooklyn. You can stand on Bond Street in Gowanus and you see downtown Brooklyn a few blocks to the north.
Well,
it's such a surprise.
And there's a really great skyline view from the Carroll Street Bridge.
Right.
It's actually one of the nicest places to view downtown Brooklyn.
Even though we're emphasizing what's happening in downtown Brooklyn and a little bit on Williamsburg, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the man who was involved, the two of you, with Brighton Beach and now Sheepshead Bay. What are you doing in Sheepshead Bay?
You can see downtown Brooklyn from Sheepshead Bay also.
Yes, you can. From your new building, certainly.
Well, actually, we're building a high-rise apartment building in a low-rise area. We were able to get a site that was enabled it as of right, thank God. And we are building it together with Avalon Bay. And we have the top 10 floors, 20 through 30. The views are spectacular. And the apartments are mostly sized for families. and we've started opening for sales, and it's been quite successful.
Any new changes in Brighton Beach with the?
We'd love to build another 10, 15 buildings if we could. Actually, Regina was part of that process. I think we did well with city planning, and city planning did well with us at the time. By the way, I don't know if people know of her background. She's true blue planning, park, and now downtown partnership. I don't think people appreciate her weight. But in the meantime, as I said, if you can see downtown Brooklyn, you're part of downtown Brooklyn these days, and we adopt everybody's adopted it.
Let's talk about Macy's site and what else is going on.
The Tishman Speyer investment at Macy's is really going to change Fulton Street in the center. Of course, City Point anchors the new, I think, the new flavor of Fulton Street at Flatbush Avenue. But Tishman has made two significant investments. At one, condoing the Macy's building for another 600,000 square feet of office right on top of Macy's, and then an apartment house on the old garage site, which faces Hoyt and Livingston. And this will really change Fulton Street. It'll give a whole new spirit and verve to having office and having a different use on Fulton Street. Also is coming is a really nice upgrade to the store finally, which I think has been something that's been lacking for a long time. Macy's is finally taking the investment of redoing the shopping areas. The first women's shoe and handbags has already been opened, and it's really been seeing some new street traffic.
What's happening with the Fulton Street Mall?
You know, the Fulton Street Mall was rebuilt 6 years ago by the city, and they really gave it a refresh. They got rid of the really bad bus shelters that really were weighting it down. I think there's really going to be another phase to what Fulton Street can be, though. A lot of us know that there's still a lot more development that could happen on Fulton Street. There's a lot more assemblage, especially near City Point, that's actually already underway. And the shopping has become more diverse and more active. I mean, that's what is the incredible location of Fulton Street. You have so much mass transit, you have so much bus, and you have so much access to the adjoining neighborhoods.
If I might add, if I might.
I won't, because I was going to ask you about Fulton Street.
I'm not sure if I should do this out loud, but Regina, I think your next job under the partnership would be to rebuild the rebuild.
To rebuild? What do you mean by the rebuild?
The Fulton Street Mall could have a nice rebuild, and I think it will have it because of all the investors.
And I think the owners are starting to recognize that. If everybody really wants to compete with great tenants, Fulton Street has to be treated a little bit differently. And I think that with City Point opening with Century, with the Macy's reinvestment, that sets the stage for another generation.
Josh wants to put in a J.W. Mays store over there and an E.J. Corvettes, okay? And then really
you're aging.
Okay,
so
and then really J. Michael's Furniture, so you can buy the furniture on payment plans. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about
50 years ago.
No, we're talking about putting in stores like Tiffany's and that ilk, because that's the people who can afford it there and now live in downtown Brooklyn.
You know, right at the end of the Fulton Street Mall, Mr. Muss, you have some retail. How's your, fast casual restaurants, which I think is one of the areas that's doing well? Yeah,
listen, everything's doing well in downtown Brooklyn. Some better than others, but at some point we felt the need to add on to the street, and it's helped the streetscape. And we root for the improvement of the mall so that we can continue it on.
Now, what else is planned in the neighborhood over there? I mean, Kesmatidis, he's finished all of his Myrtle properties.
Right, he just finished the last of his residential buildings on Myrtle, which is great. We have a phase 3 of City Point that's in the ground now. Graham Barnett's doing the first, I would say, really upscale condominium tower in downtown Brooklyn. We'll have actually an expansion of the City Point retail at the base.
Now, when City Point was initially planned,
right,
had you planned to have more retailers there, or
Yeah, I
is it
mean,
always limited to a couple of large retailers?
Well, we originally thought it was going to be a few large retailers and then a few big box tenants. And that was really our original thought. Brooklyn changed much faster, honestly, than we had originally anticipated. I think the movie theater was sort of the first change, and we really thought that downtown Brooklyn, you know, when I was a kid, downtown Brooklyn had a lot of movie theaters. Then they all closed, they were all gone. And we thought, you know, this is a new era, and you could bring people back at night. I think when we first started telling people that Alamo would be open until 1 in the morning, they thought, you know, how could that work? Their last show is their most crowded show.
10:30. Right?
Yeah, that's their most crowded show.
Since you live downtown, have you been to Alamo?
I certainly have. It's a finely combined drinking and movie watching is something that just
What a combination.
what a combination. And the food hall, I have to say, if you're anywhere near, even not that near to the food hall, anywhere near lunchtime, you ought to go.
But now, I mean, to meet the population, you have the DeKalb Market Food Hall,
Right.
and you also have a food hall not too far from your property on Ashland, right?
Also doing very well.
Right, the Gotham,
Yeah.
the Gotham Market,
Yeah.
which is going in over there.
Yep.
What else do we foresee for the neighborhood?
Michael Stern's
Michael
building.
Stern is in construction,
Right.
so we will have a true super tall
Right.
on anchoring Flatbush Avenue, which is really the
And Junior's is not leaving, right?
Junior's is not
Junior's
leaving.
is not leaving, and is packed, by the way, at lunchtime, and
Right.
and I hear at dinner since
Correct.
DeKalb Market is closed.
Right. You know, I think, you know, look, what's happening now in downtown Brooklyn is the hours have really expanded enormously. So it used to be you would walk on Fulton Street at 5, 6 o'clock and it would begin to empty out. You know, our stores and restaurants are open until late at night. The BAM area is going late at night. Dumbo is very busy late at night. So it's a really different era. Josh really started with the hotel. I mean, I think that was the same concern when Josh did the hotel. Could you get people to go at night and on weekends?
Right.
And
How
obviously
many
turned out to be
hotels
the
do we
case.
have now downtown?
I think
Any
we have
What's interesting is they're about 9 or
9.
10, but
Right.
what's interesting is that there hasn't been a new one lately because the land is so valuable that people want to build apartment buildings and now office buildings, which is interesting. Hotels are a past thought.
Right. My question on a quiet way, I know you're building office in Williamsburg. Do you think that all of this office will be absorbed, or should I make it a different comment? Will all of this office even be built?
We believe in the long-term fundamentals of office in Brooklyn deeply.
No, I think the 2 trees will be built. My comment is I think there's enough planning going into the other areas of Brooklyn that they may not have enough tenancy. People
Well,
are running.
there's really a pipeline that's staggered, right? I mean, there are a few sites that are on the market now that are available for tenancy, but Macy's won't be ready for another 2 years. JEMB on Gold Street will also take another 2.5 years to be delivered. So I think that, you know, what we're seeing is some people who are very carefully planning when they're coming online.
But what's there now is pretty much occupied.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost completely
I
occupied.
think
They're
the
different.
latest report was 93%
Yeah.
occupied.
The
Right.
tenants that are moving into Sunset Park are very different than the tenants we have in Dumbo, are very different than the tenants who are taking, you know, space in downtown Brooklyn. They're really servicing different parts of the demand.
So in summation, you know, you started there 30 years ago. I even started longer because I was born, bred, and growing in Brooklyn. I forgot the Church Avenue store, okay, the first property. So
I was thinking
say,
back to when I was born.
okay, so I'd say Brooklyn is growing, continuing to grow, and I think with visionaries and leaders, it's going to be even doing better. I'd like to thank Josh, David, Paul, and Regina, and I'll see you next week.